Welcome to our video. We at West Coast Impact are really proud of our competitive homeschool athletic league, our volleyball program, our basketball program, and more. We adhere to NFHS rules, and you're here because you're a part of West Coast and you're interested in reffing, and we're so grateful for that. So it's game day. We refs need to arrive early, about 30 minutes early, so that our coaches know that we're here. They don't have to stress about it. We can be prepared to start warm-ups. We can be checking the antenna and all the bits and pieces. During that time, if you're able to get into the gym, stay near the table. You can be answering any questions here. You can be introducing yourself to those that are working at the table. It's time to get warm-up started. If Game Changer says, say it's a 6:30 game time, then that's typically when we're allowed in the gym. There are some gyms that will allow us in early. Typically be ready to come in at 6:30. If there's any chair setting up or whatever, hopefully that will move quickly so we can get warm-up started. We do a 5-6-6 warm-up, 5 minutes first of everybody on the court. Then during that time, we're doing a captain's meeting and we'll figure out who gets the first 6 minutes. For those things, I really encourage you to have a watch for a timer rather than a phone. It's just a little more professional, but we do need to run a timer and keep those warm-up times moving. Meanwhile, you can be also chatting with the table. I tend to say, hey, I'm Sarah Lightfoot, I'm your ref today. You here at the table are scorekeepers, libero trackers, score flippers, score chart, and our line judges and officials. We're all part of a framework to create the fairest game possible for these athletes who have worked really hard, and we want to give them every advantage. We don't want to be messing things up for them. So if we can keep the table moving quickly, that would be great. We always, for D1, have an R2, a down ref, available here at the table. It makes things a lot easier. There's that interface if there's any questions, and for substitutions, timeouts, all of that. But either way, the table, they need to be talking amongst themselves. I express that, I make that clear, make sure that you're sharing scores and keeping everybody on track. If there's a substitution, one of you, or the R2, says 12 is coming in for 3, and our score person says the score is 5-6. The scorebook people don't even have to look up, and boom, we're ready to keep going. So that's just really important to express to the table. During that time also, I'm getting a game ball from the home team coach and making sure that that's well inflated, and I'll set that at the table until we're ready. I can check the antenna, which should be at the outside of the court boundary line, not over the line. Next, it would be time for the captain's meeting. This is when you're going to blow your whistle, you're going to call the captains over. Sometimes take several calls. They're a little distracted. Every single time I go over every single thing for consistency, because some of them may not have heard it. It's just an important way to approach this. I would make sure that they have met each other. There's usually some handshaking, and I go over some ground rules. The field of play in each gym is a little different. Walls are always off limits. Basketball hoops are always out. Ceiling is ceiling. It can't touch the ceiling going over. How far out is safe for them to chase a ball, things like that. Jewelry. We're enforcing NFHS's jewelry rule this year, so nothing below the neck, only well-secured studs up here, on the ears, nose, anything like that. I remind them that West Coast is about sportsmanship and integrity, meaning that if there's a touch, if there's something that happens, I don't have to ask. They tell me, hey, I touched that, and that they're kind to each other, and that they're having fun, and that this is a positive experience. I remind them of the match format. D1 is 3 out of 5, D2 and 3, and juniors is 2 out of 3. Remind them that there are 2 minutes between sets. Typically that's a coach issue, keeping things moving, but the players can be a part of that too. I ask if there are any questions. I have a quarter readily available. We're not Rochambeauing. We're using the quarter for a coin toss. On the coin toss, the away team calls. Winner gets to choose serve or the winner also gets the first 6 minutes. I need to be sure, or my R2, that we report that to the scorebook folks, and so they can be writing that down. Next, I call the line judges over, and again, I say the same thing every single time. I think that that's really important. I explain again, just like I did with the table, that we are all a team, we are all working together. Their job is really important. I make sure, first and foremost, that they're wearing fully enclosed shoes with safe traction. That is non-negotiable for their safety and for the athlete's safety. Next, I explain how to stand on a corner. My perspective of a ball hitting the line is much different here than it is if I'm just hanging out back here. So I really emphasize that they're standing at the corner where they should be, and then I give them a demonstration of a nice clear in, out, antenna, foot fault, right? Explaining each of those pieces. I ask them to call every call, even though they may think it's obvious. I may not have seen it. It's good practice. They really need to be watching feet on every serve, and I demonstrate what a foot fault is. And I ask them to maintain eye contact with me. There are often times when I don't know what a call was, or any number of things. I need to be able to communicate with my line judges, so I need their attention. I ask them to not chase the ball. Their job is to stay at the corner. It's the player's job to go get balls. And if we've done the best we possibly can, I was paying attention and I just don't know. It's just a big X. I don't know. The refs may know, or we may need to replay that point. I thank them. I ask them to stay nearby until the game starts. I also explain that there's only that 2 minutes between sets, so there's not a lot of time for bathroom runs and things. Line judges do not switch sides between sets, so they can just stay at their corner. After the 5-6-6, the teams are off the court. They're kind of getting their things together. They go back, they pray together, back to their benches. Coach gets them out onto the court. Hopefully there's an R2 or the R1, gets the lineups from the table. We check each side, we give them the thumbs up so libero can go in if necessary, and the R1 can go get on the stand. Players are on the court. We know who has first serve. That player has the ball, and we are ready to get started. Always, before blowing the whistle, do a survey. Make sure you're not missing any subs, anything else that's going on. Coaches and players are ready. Players' feet are either on or within the boundary line, and then the arm goes out for the serve. To signal the server that he or she is allowed to serve, we put the arm straight out. Every movement is big. A nice sharp whistle, straight across, and there goes the serve. My job initially is going to be watching this side, watching for that foot fault, and then I follow the ball. I'm watching every touch, and I'm watching here at the net also. Hopefully I have an R2 who's watching the net even more closely. When the ball is dead, clearly call which team gets the point, and then make the call that ended that rally. In is a nice, clear, big movement in, pointing into the court. Out is up here, a touch, a sweep of the hand upward. Foot fault is calling and pointing to the line. Antenna is just an out. If it's over, under, remember the plane of the antenna goes ceiling to floor. A net or a serve into the net is here. Over the net, that's reaching onto the opponent's side and contacting the ball before the ball passes the plane of the net, and that movement is here. Blocks don't count as long as there's no offensive movement. Blocks can be over the net. Back row attack, it's this movement. It's a foot fault on the 10-foot line from a back row player. It's a setter sending a ball over from above the plane of the net in front of the 10-foot, a back row setter. It's a libero setting above the head in front of the 10-foot to an attacker above the plane of the net. Double is a 2, 4 hits is a 4. Lift, catch, or carry is this, and that's any flat-handed underhand. It can also be sets that are held too long, can't bring the ball from behind your head, can't catch and carry a ball, but you can push the ball. Timeout is either a T if this team has called it, or here. Out of rotation is a circular movement. Just to reiterate, all calls must be big. Point to the team that gets the point so that the table can see, and a nice clear in, a nice clear out, a nice clear touch. Servers are allowed 1 drop on a serve, and then you recall the serve. Substitutions. Teams get 18 per set. It needs to be done in front of the 10-foot line. That's called the substitution zone. Hopefully there's an R2 who calls that out. I repeat, this is the motion. The table is recording that. Then somebody needs to give them the thumbs up, the okay to switch and get onto the court. Timeouts are 1 minute. Again, we indicate those with a big T on the side of the team that has taken the timeout. At 45 seconds, we give a quick beep to let them know, give them a warning. Each team gets 2 timeouts per set. At the end of the timeout, we indicate this team has had 1, this team has had 0. I can double check that with the table, with my R2, make sure we're all on the same page. Sometimes there's like a simultaneous fault. They've both netted at the same time, or there's a call that we just don't know. Either of those, we can do a replay, but we really want to avoid those if at all possible. Let's just try to know the calls. Misconduct. This is extremely rare, but I do keep the cards in my pocket just in case. A yellow card is a formal warning. I hold it up on the side of the team who's being issued the yellow card. This would be for unsportsmanlike, disrespectful conduct toward coaches, players, officials, anybody. Red card, even more rare. It's an increased level of warning. This is flagrant misconduct, like a verbal attack. In the event of an actual physical attack or a threatened or implied aggression, a second offense by an athlete or a coach, you hold the two together, and that's a disqualification. That's a you're out of the game. We don't do this often. We don't take this lightly, but just be aware. Throughout the game, I have a clear line of sight to the score chart, and I'm keeping an eye, making sure that points are being assigned correctly. When I see that we're at game point, typically 24, I'm going to indicate game point to anybody who's watching me. I call the serve. They get the point. They've won, right? I call end of game, and I indicate switching sides. That team should go that way. This team should come all the way around. If they go to a deciding set, which is set 3 for lower divisions, set 5 for D1, I will go back over there and I'll do another coin toss. The home team calls at the end of game. It's just a big end of game. I'm going to get down. I'm going to thank my officials, my team, and I'm going to sign my score sheets. This is Malia. She's our R2 for these purposes. She's an excellent R2. She stands opposite the R1, which is typically in front of the score table, which means that she is the interface between the court, the R1, and the score table. She would then be in charge of lineups, checking lineups at the beginning of each set. Her biggest job is the center line and the net. Malia will stand on the side opposite where the ball is being played. So if the serve is coming from that side, she's here. Then she quickly moves to the other side so that she's prepared to watch the net, watch any block infractions, line, faults, any of those things. During the serve, she will also be watching the other side. She's looking at their rotation, their alignment, making sure that that's good. She is also going to signal and control substitutions and timeouts. So she uses her whistle, a double tap, to get my attention and to signal a substitution. She works with the table. She tells the player that the player is ready to go in. She can also get my attention for timeouts. And she's watching the antenna on her side of the court. Anything that is over, outside of, touches it, she is calling an out. She is mirroring the R1. Point is going to that side, and it's in the court. She is indicating that also. She's just available to the table to interface regarding any questions. As Malia checks the lineups at the beginning of the set, she is also letting me know who the floor captain on each side is. She's making eye contact with me officially. If she is doing something over here and she's done, she gives the game back to the R1 so that I know that we're ready to keep going. She is also able to give misconduct warnings if she's seeing some things that are not cool. That should give you a general idea of how to ref a volleyball match. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to the score table, the coaches, the line judges. We're all here to make the game awesome for our kids.